I think I will say that a lot of the tones of the manifesto has been constant, actually. I mean, from Atiku Abubakar, who's giving us a flavor of the capitalist system in his economic programs, to people like Sowore, who thinks that there should be a socialist flavor to it, bringing the marijuana, bringing all kind of stuffs into it, to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is kind of like a bit in between, and the Labour Party, who is also giving us a flavor of some capitalist and some mixed economic kind of system. I think they've done well in terms of most of the parties have done well in terms of presenting and understanding what Nigeria needs. And people have also enunciated it that, you see, who can we trust that will actually bring this manifesto into fruition? I mean, it is a paper. We understand our system. It can just hang there as a paper. A lot of them have not been president before. They do not even know what it takes. It's just all speculations. So, I mean, we have all read all the 60 pages, renewed hope, to all kind of manifestos that we have seen. But I think I'm more concerned in the fiber and the bringing. Who can we trust with Nigeria? I think that's where my heart is actually at this point.
Well, Dr. Oludare, too, you've also monitored the campaigns and you've seen some of the issues that dominated the period. How would you say these candidates are fared in terms of speaking to the plight of the people? How would you assess what they are bringing to the table, what they've put on the table?
Yeah, definitely. I'm an unabashed supporter of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I've actually also tried to give every other candidate a bit of a chance, like try to study their plan. And what I have come to really realize is that the other candidates don't have a grasp of the basis of the problems. So while they talk, potential solutions, at least in their own perspective, by not understanding the crux of the problem, what is causing the problem, they are getting off on the wrong mark. So it's like it's like they are supposed to be going west, but they're going, east or something. So that's the reason why, I can, try to, pick a few examples, like when it comes to in terms of the interest rates and all of that. The reason why prices of goods and commodities are high in Nigeria, it's not because Nigerians have too much money. It is because the exchange rate is so terrible and we import almost everything in Nigeria. That is the reason why prices of things are high. And when Asiwaju was talking in his manifesto, he was talking about we don't need to increase the interest rate. And I know that I can remember reading it in the newspaper that the article, team was challenging that when the prices are high, you need to increase interest rates to reduce. That's the reason why they are arguing that is because they have failed to intellectually process the problem. The problem is that things are high because of the exchange rates, not because Nigerians have too much money. Now, in the United States, there is inflation because there's a lot of money. The money was flooded in during COVID. Everybody in the US got money free of charge. Some people got millions. That's different than in Nigeria, whereby it is the exchange rate that is making the prices of goods so super expensive. And when it comes to even electricity or security and all of that, the Asiwaju has understood this problem for decades. So it's taking years of him persistently talking about the same things that he has been talking about for 24 years. Now you find it in all the manifestos. Everybody's talking about state policing. Well, they are Johnny come lately because I started talking about that 24 years ago. Everybody's now talking about decentralization of democracy. Well, that was all what he fought for while every one of them was in PDP, forming the ruling party and all that. So it is just about understanding, I mean, as a medical doctor, you know that the first thing you need to do before you give a patient a medication is to make a diagnosis. If you cannot diagnose the condition, you are going to be giving paracetamol for malaria, and you are not going to cure anything. So it is in the understanding. It is in the understanding. That is where I fault the other candidates, and that is why I dove my heart and I'm in support of, Ashwaju because he understands the problem and he has a human perspective to fixing it.
All right. Dr. Bayonle, I saw you smiling while Dr. Dari was talking. You don't seem to be on the same page with him concerning Ashwaju's understanding of the Nigerian problem. What do you speak? What would you say about that?
Well, I'm not a spokesperson of his campaign, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be honing in on particularly about him, but I'm just excited about all the 18 candidates that we have. And believe you me, I've gone through most of their resume. One by one, I've looked at Adebayo, I've looked at Sowore, I've looked at Kola Abiola, maybe Kachoko, Professor, all of them across board. And I'm excited about the competence of these candidates. And believe me, like I'm an advocate of the young people. So I believe that we need to start shifting things on the left. We shouldn't be going up there. I think that if we're saying that we have 67% of the population that is less than 35 years old, I don't know why we should not represent ourselves. I don't know why we do not understand what affects us today and why we cannot bring that into future. Someone like Omoyele Sowore was talking about marijuana and the rest of it, and the world went crazy. And of course, I'm sure what's it called here can testify that in developed countries, you enter dispensary and get marijuana, have edibles and everything. That is how much they have moved their system. The healthcare system is light miles ahead. So, I'm more in support of a younger, a relatable kind of person that is going to bring today's awareness, today's freshness into the system. We can argue that he also has, maybe Bola Ahmed Tinubu also has people that is going to employ into the portfolio. You don't need to employ people if you actually are capable of doing it yourself. So, we've had 50-something-year-old president before in person of Jonathan. We've had Yar'Adua also in his 50s. I don't know why we are moving up the ladder when we should actually be going the opposite way. And they say if you're doing the same thing over and over and you're getting the same result, you need to change your ways. So, we have all the flavors in this election from 39-year-old Professor Christopher. What else can we? 43-year-old Kachoko. We have 52-year-old Sowore. We have 51-year-old Adebayo. 61-year-old Peter Obi. I think we need to be looking at these guys as far as I'm concerned. I think they have brilliant plans. I don't think only the APC candidate is the custodian of knowledge. I think he has tried. He has given us very good candidates in the past. He has brought forth his good hands, and he has led the country to a very reasonable and comfortable position. I think it's time to pass the baton on to the next generation. We here believe in mentorship. That is literally it. You want to pass the baton to the generation behind you and continue the race, not keep holding on to the baton. I think that's how it should be. So whatever he's bringing to the table, I do not think the people behind him, like all the people I've mentioned, also don't have the capacity to think through those things and bring it to board. Let us understand that our leaders are not experts in healthcare. They are not experts in economics. They are not experts in security. Their job is to look for technocrats that is going to handle all these places. So ask yourself, do we have people? Are we going to employ a leader who is not going to be doing favoritism, who is not going to be nepotistic in his choice, who is going to go for the best hands? I think that's what we are doing here. Not a person who can house all the knowledge of economics or whatever. And I believe any of the younger candidates can do as best or equally well like any of the older candidates.
Well, Dr. Bayonle, interesting choice of words there. I'd like to ask Dr. Oludare now, picking up from what Dr. Bayonle has said, when talking about the need to leave the old behind and focus on the new. You are a young person, and you seem to be you have pitched your tent with one of the oldest candidates in the race. Why are you supporting someone of Ashwaju's age when, like Dr. Bayonle has said, there are younger people that you could have lent your support
to the younger ones not appeal to you?
Well, because the last time I checked, when I walked to a grocery store, my age did not, get me any good. I had to pay for it. It's about understanding the problems and understanding the person with to get it done. We can be fixated on the age and like, oh yeah, we want the young person, but then how does the person get things done? It's all about results right here. It's not about the youngest person, it's about the person who can get things done. We're talking about decentralization of democracy and all that, decentralization of policing. It is going to take a constitutional, amendment. We need to have to go back into our constitution and change things. So if we vote for a 41-year-old just for the sake of being 41-year-old, or we vote for a 30 whatever year old, 39-year-old, how will they be able to muster the will of the legislators to, do the things that need to be done? How many, relationships do they have? How many connects there? How many people do they have in their parties that are running for the legislative arm of government? We have to first understand that we're not voting for, a dictator. We are voting for a president who is just going to be marshalling the one arm of a tripartite form of government, just the executive. So we need to work with the legislators. So it's about getting the job done. We are talking, it's not just in Nigeria that the youth have not really been taking up leadership in as much as maybe they used to back in the days. We also live in a world right now where the youth are not technically, from my own point of view, as informed as their parents were when they were, when they were at their age. So it is. We live in a world right now where the social media has impugned the intellect of a lot of youths. It has dumbed down this generation. That is it. Most youth don't have the time to even think about the problem that they are facing. And I'll give a case in point. Year 2022, Nigeria had 7 power grid collapses, that there was total blackout all across the country because there was a power collapse. And then Asiwaju said that the power line is far away for generated electricity. And there were lots of memes about it. It showed that the youth did not even have what it takes to even think about the solution to their problem. They did not even understand it, despite the fact that same year, they had 7 power grid collapses. I could talk about when the situation of EndSARS occurred, and everybody just wanted the government to end SARS. So let's assume Buhari came out, I am ending SARS. Would that end police brutality? No. The solution to end decentralize this democracy, which is what is actually going to put the Nigerian economy on overdrive. Nigeria is being retarded right now because of this system. Before we can get another start the wheel of the whole country, because we are locked in the country with other states from with another ethnic groups and all that. Before we can get that to take another generation, because it is not an easy fight. It took Asiwaju a generation of persistently banging on the doors of let us decentralize, for us to get to a place whereby we are getting close. It is still even going to be difficult to muster the will of the legislators to get that thing done. So it is not about age. It's not about age. You don't go to the hospital and look for the youngest doctor that, oh yeah, this is the person I want to see. You want to see the most experienced or the smartest. I don't see anybody who has told me someone is smarter than Asiwaju in this case, because that man is actually so intelligent.
All right.
When we're talking about controlling graft and all that, and he's talking about using credits to discourage people from corruption.
All right, Dr. Bayonle, you were in Nigeria last year, and you ran campaigns as a young person. In fact, that was the focal point of your campaign, and that's the philosophy of your party too. And you've interacted with some of the young people right here in Nigeria. Do you agree that the young people, as Dr. Oludare is saying, are not aware, they are not self-conscious to the point of being able to handle problems? Do you toe that line? He said that even in civilized countries, civilized world, more civilized world, let me put it that way, the leaders are somewhat older people. Do you toe that particular line?
Obviously, I do not. I was just really laughing when he was making a submission, which, of course, he has a right. He has an entitlement to his opinion. I think I've worked with one of the most brilliant minds in the world, and they are young people. They are in their 20s, they're in their early 30s. I mean, that's even probably one of the things that propelled me to be like, no, we can do these things. Even the leaders that we have in Nigeria today, they were there when they were young. Donald Duke was just 38 years old when he was a governor. Even Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself was in his 40s. Babatunde Raji Fashola was 42. The Kogi State governor was 38. So, I mean, there were young people. We had presidents and premiers as young as late 20s, etc. You see, what we're saying is this, and people should understand. Age does not confer any superior leadership skills. Do you understand? It's not because you're young, yes, that makes you that confers some natural leadership skills for you. No, that's not what we're saying, and people need to understand that. When we say young, it's the freshness of ideas. It's today's reality. I'm sure the doctor knows that things have moved on. In fact, in developed world, they call this time the new era, the post-COVID era. There's so many things that have changed in medicine, in tech, in fintechs, in all the sphere. Even me, in my late 30s right now, I'm grasping with so many changes that has happened around me in such a short while. So if we are saying that we represent the largest percentage of the population in Nigeria, for instance, the median age in Nigeria is 18 years old. That means half of the people in Nigeria are less than 18 years old. What are the realities of the 18-year-old that an 80-year-old man can provide? That is what I'm saying. Somebody who represents their generation can understand this is what we need. If a young person holds a phone today, you'll be wondering what he's doing on this one. You are not even that old. There's so many things around you right now. Right now, everybody's talking about GPT. People are talking about renewable energy. People are talking about robotic surgeries. People are talking about so many interesting stuff. So it's the freshness of ideas.